what is going down. It is, of course, DJ Ash Noble here. Welcome back to another stream. And today, we're going to be talking about a new exciting project that I am getting myself involved in, that I'm actually really excited for. So I titled the stream The Next Chapter. And I titled it The Next Chapter because I kind of believe that this is something that could maybe spiral into the next chapter. I've been given an opportunity that I'm really excited for, and all I'm gonna say is life has a really funny way of like doing things and like the way things work out, and all will come clear within this live stream, you know, of like basically what the hell I'm going on about. So, to cut the story short, before we kind of break it down and explain it, I am going to be starting some work on a new radio station that is launching in Hull, called CC Radio. So there's somebody who I've known for a few years now, who used to work on a different radio station, and for whatever reason he left that station. But he kind of does all different things around the city. He does like he's quite into his painting. He did the painting inside the Hull Paragon station. That's just recently been painted inside, and he was a big part of doing sort of like the painting and all of that stuff. And he's done loads of different things in Hull. He's a bit of a jack of all trades, master in none. And anyway, he's got some funding to start a community radio station called CC Radio in Hull. And basically he's come to Goodwin, and he has basically said about like getting Goodwin involved where I work, and for myself to do some form of radio show. So of course I was already excited. It was something I already knew instantly, like, yes, I want to be involved in this because I love all things music. And I think the radio station avenue would be a really cool thing to go down. It would be a really good sort of avenue. And it's a 16-week funded project. So they've got this radio station funding for 16 weeks to do some pretty sort of like cool but basic stuff. It's not like this massive big like FM radio station. It's an online station. It's going to have an app and things like that, but it isn't going to have like an aerial. It's not going to be like broad. It's not going to have a frequency on a tower. So like it's not going to be like a 1 or something point something FM. It's just like a modern kind of DAB kind of like online radio station, if you like. But it's going to be really cool, really exciting. And we've got 16 weeks, and I'm looking forward to it. I think if the 16 weeks go well, then they're going to be able to fund the radio station for longer. And I think that like everything, big respect to you, locking in. I think if things go well, then the radio station can continue to go for longer. If they do decide that, however, the radio station is not going to get funded anymore for whatever reason, and it does come to an end, it's given me some good weeks of experience. It's given me a good kind of little chance to really kind of just do some radio station work, which then kind of means that I could maybe go on and do some things at some other radio stations, which would be like a really cool thing to do. I'd love to do something at a radio station. Now, for those of you who may or may not know, I actually did a radio broadcasting training course about 3 years ago, and unfortunately, when I completed the training, we were in talks of like what radio show I would do. And then I got my job at Goodwin, and I was a little bit unsure of kind of like what show I was going to do. And then I was a little bit unsure like if I could commit to doing the show. And then unfortunately, it just got left. It got left kind of at like a little bit of an unopened end. And there was always like, you know, like we want you to be involved in the station still. We want you to come down and do stuff. And I'd see the person who did the training with, I'd see him from time to time, and he would always say like, I want you to still come and do something on the station. And I was like, yeah, you know, I want to still do something, but the timing has just never been right. However, it just goes to show that training was definitely not a waste of time. So this is what I was kind of saying at the beginning of the stream, is that sometimes like you can do something and at the time it might not lead to anything, or you might have thought like, why have I just done this when, you know, now I've like some people go to university, for example, and then they graduate and then they don't end up doing something which was to do with why they graduated from university, and then they sit there and they think like, why did I go to university and waste all them years? And I suppose like the moral of the story is you might not have necessarily wasted them years at university, because, you know, something in the future might come up, and it might include doing something similar to what you did at university or the same thing. So for me, I did the radio broadcasting training 3 years ago. Then a show never happened, and then I kind of sat there and thought, well, that's a bit of a shame. I did all this training and nothing kind of came out of it. Now, 3 years down the line, I'm getting involved in, yes, a different radio station, but I'm getting another chance. And it just goes to show that what I did 3 years ago was not a waste of time, and it was definitely I definitely hadn't done it for nothing. And now it's given me an opportunity to do something that I think is going to be really, really absolutely wicked, and really, really good. So I'm looking forward to it. So what I'm going to do just ever so briefly is I'm going to just flip the camera and I'm going to show you something. So I'm flipping the camera, look, and this right here, this is called Myriad, and this is the software that we're going to use to put the shows together, and the broadcasting software. So so I'm on a free trial of this, just so I could have a little bit of a play around, essentially, and just kind of get my a little bit of just so I can study the software and learn it. So that is called Myriad Cloud Radio. Now, it's like a smaller version of what Myriad can offer, basically. And, you know, there's like the proper Myriad for bigger stations. So I think when I originally did the broadcasting training, it was something like Myriad 5 or something like that. Now I think it's on something like Myriad 6 or 7, and it's changed quite drastically. So Myriad Cloud is just like a smaller version of that program, and that's what we're going to use for the station. So you can do a 7-day free trial. You can't broadcast with it. That wasn't the aim for me. The aim for me was just I'd go onto the software. I could just have a little look at the layout. I could just have a little look at some of the features it has to offer. I can do some practice at like just recording some like voiceovers into the system, and play around with editing some tracks and stuff, which it allows you to do all that, and you can kind of put like mock shows together. You just can't physically broadcast them live while you're just basically on the trial version. And at the end of the 7 days, I won't be able to use this software anymore. I didn't have to put any card details in, which is good. And basically, it will just tell me the trial's over. If I do want to continue, I could then put my card details in, which I obviously don't. The radio software, the radio station itself, they're obviously going to supply the software for me. I just wanted to get a little bit of a head start and just have a little bit of a study, so I could kind of come to the training already with a little bit of knowledge, and also so I could limit the time that I needed to do the training, so we could kind of get the ball rolling a little bit quicker, and just so I don't have to sit there and spend hours on end trying to learn the software. If I can go to the training and already have a little bit of an idea to what I'm doing, it will be a really, really cool thing. But I'll just show you the software again. So this is what's known as the cart wall. This is where like all the tracks will get imported into the station, and this is where like all the songs will display. So you can see that there's one here, it's a Sonny Fodera, and then you can see over here, this is the schedule of the current time and the next hour, basically, more or less, on the station. And you can scroll down and you can go like all through the night. You can go into the following day, and basically this is where you would kind of build your show. So let's say, for example, 26 minutes past midnight, even though it's gone past that, but let's just say, for example, we wanted to play that Sonny Fodera track at that time. We could just basically drag that in, and then at 26 minutes past midnight, that Sonny Fodera track would play on the station, essentially, and that is pretty much like what you would do. And then that one also states it's going to play at the same time, so then we would just go and basically permanently delete that, and then basically that Sonny Fodera track would now play. Then at 30:30 it would play the APT and stuff like that, and it's really cool, really, really good. We've got a library here, and this is where like everything would be displayed, that would basically, so like if I click dance, there's the 2 tracks in dance, and then this is where you would search for everything that would be on the station, essentially. So if there was something that wasn't in your cart wall, basically, you could go to the library and you could search, for example, if you wanted a Guns N' Roses track, and then you would see if there was any Guns N' Roses on the system, and if they had one that you wanted to play, say Welcome to the Jungle, you could then drag that onto the schedule and you could play it at some point during the show, and basically that's sort of like how it would run, and it's going to be really good. You can with these players down here, you can preview what you have, basically, what you're going to play. So like when you're putting a show together, you can put these tracks into these players and you can have a listen, and if you feel it's the right track and right, I definitely want to play this, you can then go ahead and put it onto the schedule itself and schedule at what time on your show the track is obviously going to go out. So that's just basically what I know already in regards to the show. I don't know like much more than that. Like, I know I can edit tracks, I know I can add like fade ins and fade outs. I know, like, for example, if somebody sends me a dance track, but they send me like the full DJ version, I know that I can choose a section where the track would start, and I can actually cut like the intro, the DJ, the mixing point out of the track, and I can find a place where I would like to fade the track in, and where I would like the track to start playing. So when I play it on radio, you're not just going to have that sort of like minute long intro, just that ooch, 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 before anything happens, and it'll come straight into where a track should really come in if you are playing it on radio, and that is obviously going to be like, it's going to be like, obviously the cool thing about it. So I'm really looking forward to it. Really, really looking forward to the opportunity. What's my favourite supermarket and my favourite English football team you like? So my favourite supermarket. So I. Do you know what? Yesterday I went to a retail park. Now in England we have what's known as retail parks, and I think they have them like in the States and other countries as well. It's a big car park, and basically you have like loads of different shops around this big car park. Sometimes there will be like a big supermarket, and then along with the supermarket there'll be maybe like a bargain store, there'll be like a clothing store, there'll be, there'll maybe be like some like second hand shops, like charity shops. There might even sometimes be a bakery. You might even maybe sometimes get like a McDonald's or a Burger King. So we went to this retail park yesterday, and there was an Iceland food warehouse. Now, I've been to Iceland for years. I know kind of all about Iceland. I've always been sort of a fan of Iceland, but I've never really been into an Iceland food warehouse. And I really wanted to see, just out of the curiosity, what the difference was inside of a normal Iceland to an Iceland food warehouse. So I went to this Iceland food warehouse. I thought I'm going to have a look inside because I'm curious. And anyway, cut the story short, I was quite blown away at how good it actually was. And basically, I just had a little look around. I didn't really buy anything in particular. I think I just got a drink. I'd more just gone to have a nosy around. But it was almost, it was just like a normal Iceland, but bigger and better. And they just had they just had a lot more to offer. And everything just seemed like it was on a bigger scale. And whereas Iceland has always kind of been like, for me, like just a little frozen food, small shop where you have about 4 aisles. This one was a bit more bigger. It was a bit more like almost on a supermarket scale. It was like a small supermarket. It was really good. They had like a really good selection of pizzas. It was like even more so than you would get in the normal Iceland. They had a really good drinks selection, and it just, there was some really good stuff. It was really good. It was real nice to look around, and I think that has probably become one of my favourite places, just because I was quite mesmerised at how good it was. But normally I do like places like Heron Foods. I think out of like the big supermarkets, out of like the Tesco, Asda, Morrisons, I like Asda the best. I think Asda is probably my favourite. Then I would probably say it would be Tesco's and then Morrisons, but they're all kind of the same. They all kind of sell the same thing. You can go into Asda, you can get Heinz tomato ketchup. You can go into Tesco and get Heinz tomato ketchup. You can go into Heron and get Heinz tomato ketchup. So it's like, a lot of them just more or less really sell the same things. But Iceland, Asda, sorry, they do have some quite good cheap deals, and especially in their super saver selection or whatever they call it, you can get some pretty good stuff, especially like tin stuff. You can get tin stuff that are like 50p, and when you don't have a big budget for your shopping, it can really help. It can be really good. Just having a wet of my drink. So yeah, and then you said what was my favourite football team. I don't support football. So football has never interested me. It's something that I've never been interested in. It's something I've never really just been able to get into it. When I was really young, I did some like indoor football lessons, and I had really bad eyesight as a kid. And I used to like I couldn't see the balls coming towards me, like until the last minute, and then basically I'd get like it'd make me flinch. I'd get scared, and when I was a kid, I used to get bullied because of that, and they would used to like kick footballs at me basically, or like almost not kick footballs at me, but make me feel like or think the ball's coming towards me because of my eyesight, but in hindsight it wasn't. So yeah, I've never been able to get on with football. It's just not something I really support. And when it comes to like sports, I'm not really a big sporty person. So if I had to say like there's any kind of sports that I like motorsports. Now, when I say I like motorsports, I like motorbike racing. I don't love it. I like it. It's more something that my dad and granddad like. I don't like it personally, like enough like they do. I like it, but I don't love it, so I don't sit there and watch every race meeting when it comes on telly. And I don't follow every single race meeting of the year. However, like if I'm at my granddad's and he's got it on, like I will sit there and watch it. If they're going on a like day trip to one of the race meetings itself, I do like to go with them sometimes. I do enjoy going and actually physically watching it, like, at the track itself and, sitting in the grandstand. I like going over to the Isle of Man TT and watching the Isle of Man. I'm going over to the Northwest in May to watch the Northwest 200, which is going to be really fun. So I'm really looking forward to that. But I don't love it to the extent where I watch every race meeting and every picture in me flat is like motorbike related. I own a motorbike myself. I have a motorbike calendar. I wear motorbike t-shirts, so I am a fan of it. It's just like it's not my favorite thing. I didn't used to like it as much as a kid, and then kind of as I've got older, I've got a little bit more interested in it as I got a little bit older, and I wasn't as scared of motorbikes anymore. And I also don't mind the darts as well. And again, the darts, it's not something where like I follow every single darts championship. I don't watch it every single time it's on telly. But like if I'm at my granddad's and it's on, like I will sit there and watch it and enjoy it, and I can sit there and watch a few games, and I like to play it myself. My nan, who sadly recently passed away, she was always a big fan of darts. She used to play for a local pub herself, and she was really into her darts. And she unfortunately decided to quit the darts, and she regretted it. Like she wished that she hadn't stopped playing, but she did. She didn't feel like she felt like she was getting a bit past it, getting a bit too old. But then she left the darts, and she was like, "I wish I hadn't left now. I wish I'd never given it up." But then by that point, it was a bit too late to go back. And I think the actual pub that she played for, they actually lost their team. I think a few more people prior to my nan leaving, and after my nan leaving, also left the darts team. And I think that she didn't, the team just, there wasn't enough players to keep it going. Basically, it was a women's darts team. But she was a big fan of darts. She liked the darts. And that's where I got it from, and I played it a lot as a kid. We had a darts board. We often had a game of darts, like in the summer holidays, and we sometimes had a game before school and stuff like that, which was really good for like doing maths and adding up and taking away. Obviously, when you're counting the darts and what you've obviously scored, and we played a lot of around the board and things, which was really good in that sense. But apart from that, Like I don't, like I say, I don't like football. I've never been a big fan of rugby, hockey, tennis, things like that. Just don't interest me. One of my probably worst sport that I would say I probably like. I just hate it. Like I just really don't see the point. Is golf. Like golf is just something that like I just find it like I don't know, I just find it more boring than ever. And another thing I'm really not a big fan of is going fishing. People that go fishing, I just find it boring. Like people who actually physically do it, that are supplying like like the fish and chip shops and things like that's different. But like somebody who just likes to go fishing in his hobby, and people that go fishing, they catch a fish, they look at it for 2 minutes and then they put it back in the water. That is just, for me personally, I just don't really see the point in it. It's almost like spending hours mining for gold, and then you find gold, but then you just put the gold back. Like for me, I don't personally like. Some people who are maybe into fishing, they could tell me different. They could tell me why they love it, and they might have a good reason why they love it. And if they love it, then fair enough. I can't argue with them. Like we all have things that we love and things that we don't like. There might be things I enjoy that somebody who enjoys fishing thinks like, how can you like that? It's just one of them things, isn't it? But anyway, we are digressing onto other topics and subjects. So the radio thing is going to be a really, really fun opportunity. It's going to give me a lot of like learning. So like I feel kind of like even when like the training finishes and I'm actually like putting shows together, I still in sense feel like I will still be training, and I think I will still be learning. And I think it's going to be like the whole thing's going to be a big learning curve. But I am really, really looking forward to basically seeing everything come to life, and just basically seeing everything that I will be doing. And I think it will be like a really, really cool thing to be doing this, if that makes sense. So I'm really looking forward to the whole station thing, and I can't wait to basically see what happens with the station, and what goes on with the station, and I wanted to share it with you. So what does this mean for the other things I do? Absolutely nothing. Doesn't affect anything else that I'm doing. So I'm doing this as part of my work hours. If I decide that like it's going well and I want to then do a show in my spare time, and that is something a little bit more personal to me, like a dance music show, and I've already kind of got one in mind for something that I would like to do, which I think could be really, really cool. Then I'll do one, but again, it won't affect like any of the gigs I'm doing. It won't affect anything I'm doing as such, like outside of the radio stuff. It's just another project that I'm doing, but like you never know where this could end. And I'm one of these people where like I'm quite sort of interested in the whole sort of like the whole way that the radio works. It's not about, for me, as much as I love music, it's not about going on and just banging out the music. For me, like I like the little quirky things of like reading the weather out, reading kind of like what's on, and doing that sort of typical, what I kind of grew up listening to on radio, which, kind of was like you have a news and a weather, and, and people reading like what's on, and so a guy talking on a mic, essentially. That is like the bit that kind of excites me. Whereas some people like doing radio shows because they can play all the best banging music. And I've got a friend, the layman, who does a radio show, and he's really good, really, really good. Yeah, really, really good radio show. But he always says like, I hate reading the weather out. Like Whereas I'm kind of like, I kind of want to do that. I don't know why. It excites me. I always wind him up and say, like, I wish you'd do the travel news as well. And he's like, no, please don't. It's funny. But anyway, with that being said, it's going to be wicked. What I'm going to try and do as well is when a show goes out, I'm going to try and see if I can get the recording of that show. And then I can do stuff like, I can put the show on to kind of like SoundCloud, and I can put them onto YouTube, and we can kind of like do some really, really good stuff in terms of the radio. In terms of the radio itself, and then for people who maybe don't get to listen into the shows, they can just have a listen back to maybe what a show is like, and then they'll get the vibe of kind of what obviously is going on with the show and everything, which is going to be really, really good. So yeah, with that being said, make sure to like, make sure to comment, make sure to share, and we'll see you soon.